Welcome to Personology Podcast. In this podcast, I will present all 48 periods in one or couple of episodes for simplification. Please refer to the details in the description to find the timestamp of the exact time period that interests you. Personology divides the year into 48 periods, each associated with distinct personality characteristics typical of people born during these periods. The essence of these traits is represented by the name of each period. Personology's 48 periods and their names are listed in the description of youtube.com Personology channel. Please note that this podcast is only a fragment of all the fascinating knowledge Gary left us within his books. For further information such as personality descriptions for each day of the year and more, please go to my website personology.info. Also, you can check out my blog, personology.substack.com, and if you prefer Czech language, the secret language of birthdays translation to Czech language is now available at cz.personology.info. Gary Goldschneider developed a groundbreaking birthday-based personology theory, which consists of 366 over 90% accurate scientific psychological personality profiles for each day of the year, far beyond detail than his predecessors offered. To get the best experience of personology, I recommend to read all introductions first located in his books as well as the seasonal, monthly, and weekly profiles covered in this podcast for better understanding, and then birthday profile at the end, which ties up all together with another set of unique description for each day of the year. These are original observations that Gary wrote in 1994 and are based on traditional Western astrology and the Hermetic idea of as above so below. A knowledge is neither good or bad, but it is its application that can be either harmful or beneficial. The cusp of Pisces-Aries personality, which is from March 19th to March 24th. Those born on the Pisces-Aries cusp are unusually direct in their approach to life, and their outspokenness can make them alternately admired or misunderstood. They are elemental, basic individuals who cannot and will not be denied, no matter what their station in life. Pisces-Aries people rarely see anything wrong with their actions and generally refuse to change their attitude or lifestyle for anyone. Even the mildest of them seem to carry a sense of infallibility about their person. Through insistence, they tend to get their way. Every cusp personality comprises conflicting elements, being influenced by two very different adjacent signs. Because the Pisces-Aries personality combines the watery Piscean traits of sensitivity and deep emotion with the fiery Aries traits of action and willfulness, people born on this cusp may prove puzzling to those unable to understand their curious admixture of passive and active characteristics. They can be at once dreamers and doers. However, as feeling intuitive types, they often lack earthy stability and hard mental objectivity. For this reason, their lives tend to show a great deal of conflict and flux. Those who do get to know Pisces-Arians better learn not to look for deeper reasons or ulterior motives behind their actions. Those born on this primal cusp resent being analyzed, feeling either rightly or wrongly that what they so openly present to the world is exactly what they really are, no more, no less. All self-critical processes are painful for them, but their success in life will be directly proportional to their ability to remain objective about what they do and who they are. Advice: learning patience is your most important task. Develop social skills through working alongside others. Try to curb your impetuous side, weigh alternatives, and consider consequences before speaking or acting. Get to know yourself better. The first Aries personality, which is from March 25th to April 2nd. Aries 1 people often display childlike characteristics. They tend to be open, frank, and energetic. Like children, they not only exhibit spontaneity and liveliness themselves, but also appreciate these qualities in others. Many Aries-I people are criticized for having a naive or superficial approach to life. They are particularly sensitive to criticism and in confrontational situations tend to walk away when they feel misunderstood or withdraw to brood. In fact, others who wish to relate to them have to understand how deep their need for direct expression really is. Although they seem best suited to a public life, and indeed enjoy pleasant social activities, the greatest difficulty for Aries may lie in getting along with other people in day-to-day mundane situations. Certainly their freshness and charm stands them in good stead, and they know how to make a positive impression. Yet, they are stubborn in their beliefs, and their idealism can act as a roadblock to compromise. Such inflexibility may become a serious barrier to easy give and take in daily life. Even those Aries who have tremendous drive to be out in the world as leaders may not be cut out for such positions. In fact, they may be too sensitive and lack the toughness needed for rough infighting. Though they are likely to have the tenacity to hang in there, they may not exhibit the same determination to move ahead. For this reason, they are often found working in a fixed position as a member of a team. They may function well in such a position for years, as long as they do not feel their ideals are threatened or that they are forced to take a back seat to someone they cannot respect. Aries 1 generally have a low frustration level. But though they may flare up in anger, the storm usually passes quickly. Fortunately, because the personal vision of Aries I is pure in nature, doubts or suspicions held against them are also quick to fade, since others realize that scheming and malicious intent are foreign to the Aries 1 character. Perhaps the ideal situation for Aries 1 is to be left alone without restrictions as much as possible. In terms of career, they do best when they have ample time and freedom to get the job done their way and also to innovate. In personal terms, those involved with Aries 1 must make allowances for their extreme need for independence, but equally well their need for affection and sharing. Advice: cultivate your quiet side, yet do not neglect your aggressive urges or let them get bottled up inside. When you feel frustrated, try to understand the problem and then take the initiative. Acknowledge your need for affection and support. Do not hesitate to ask for help when you need it. The second Aries personality, which is from April 3rd to April 10th. Aries 2 individuals are distinctly success-oriented. Their way of making it in society generally involves attracting attention. Yet many Aries 2 also have the strength and fortitude to proceed in developing their projects whether they are noticed or not. Sooner or later, when those around them become aware of their personality and accomplishments, Aries can become the center of much interest, to the point of developing a following which adores or even worships them. Normally they are able to accept such devotion in an easy fashion. However, this should not imply that all Aries 2 are egotists. Curiously, because they are usually freed from the struggles others go through to be noticed, they may show an actual lack of egotism. In following their dreams, they somehow manage to leave their own personalities behind. The downside of this is that many emotions and feelings may be denied them. Indeed, those who seek to touch an Aries 2 person on a direct emotional level may find themselves rebuffed. Furthermore, many Aries 2 are not known for great displays of empathy or sympathy toward others. In fact, they can be rather lonely and aloof. Nonetheless, Aries 2 do have a great need for a sympathetic and perhaps insightful mate or close friend who can help them understand themselves and their role in life. Because their realistic assessment of events may not be so astute, they can come to rely heavily on an advisor whom they can trust. Those Aries 2 who never connect with such a person may feel themselves adrift. There is no denying the tendency of Aries 2 to exaggerate their own importance. True, they may in fact be indispensable to the life around them, be it family or career, but they can also arouse great antagonism if they lose sight of the interconnectedness of an organization or entity. Also, since Aries 2 are highly goal-oriented, they tend to externalize their personal, interior challenges. Consequently, they may not work out their inner problems or get to know themselves better. Faced with difficulties where external solutions are of no avail, they may then seek to find answers inside themselves and welcome needed personality changes. The most successful of Aries 2, having undergone such growth, are able to be themselves while still allowing friends, co-workers, and family members their chance to shine. Advice: resist overwhelming people with your energy. Act responsibly. Try not to be too needy of attention and beware of leading others on. Confirm your inner values and develop hidden talents. The third Aries personality, which is from April 11th to April 18th. Aries 3 people are often taken up with social issues. Unlike other more self-centered Aries personalities, the child and the star, they see themselves acting in the larger context and are not so concerned with their own personal image. Aries 3 are very interested in the rules which govern social interaction and politics. They enjoy studying the traditions of their particular field and as a result of this usually go in one of two directions, either upholding it by adopting a conservative stance or by opposing it as an iconoclast. The latter individuals, however, generally become more conservative once they have succeeded in implementing their own rules of conduct. As mentioned, the pioneering spirit is strong in the Aries 3 personality. Aries 3 are born leaders who do not hesitate to roll back frontiers and push on beyond established limits. Often through the force of their personality, rather than ideas, they can inspire others to follow them. However, regardless of how dynamic Aries 3 are, they rarely overlook their fellow human beings or forget their responsibilities toward them. Aries 3 often nurture a highly individual understanding of people, which can come to be their most treasured possession. They display great faith in the power of human thought to transform the world into a better place. One of the main difficulties engendered by Aries 3 is that in their zeal to better conditions around them, they can actually cause suffering, often due to an inability to operate outside anything but the highest ideals. Although they demand the best for others, they can lose sight of what it is that others really want. Furthermore, they can find themselves from time to time at the mercy of unscrupulous people who seek to manipulate them, primarily by pretending to understand or believe in their endeavors. Advice: tune in to what people are really saying. Beware of those who wish to monopolize your time and energy. Ideals and ideas can be worthy of devotion, but also destructive. Make sure that others want to be helped or led before you offer. Try to keep in touch with the actual state of things. Beware of being carried away by your own enthusiasm. The cusp of Aries-Taurus personality, which is from April 19th to April 24th. Those born on the Aries-Taurus cusp are markedly dominant personalities, capable of impacting on their environment with great force and exerting control over those around them, whether they choose to be leaders or not. They can achieve solid career results in a variety of ways, climbing the corporate ladder, establishing themselves as influential freelancers, setting up and running a family or home situation, or building a secure financial base. Aries-Taurus people become very uncomfortable if they are forced to give up their autonomy or are compelled to submit to another's authority. On the other hand, they must avoid being victimized or overwhelmed by their own drive and ambition. Every cusp personality comprises conflicting elements, being influenced by two very different adjacent signs. Because the Aries-Taurus personality combines fiery, impulsive and intuitive Aries traits with earthy, sensuous and practical Taurus ones, frustrating conflicts between imaginative and realistic considerations may surface. On the other hand, earthy qualities may also serve to balance common ground fiery energies. Intuitive sensation types, those born on this cusp, may at times show a disturbing lack of emotional sensitivity. Taurarians are highly strategic in thought and action. This is demonstrated in their ability to overcome seemingly overwhelming odds, guided by an unerring instinct which tells them when to wait and when to act. Masters of thorough and painstaking preparation, they are not in any hurry to achieve immediate results. Advice: try not to overpower others. Learn to back off and allow things to happen as they will, although your hands may itch to do the job. Give others a chance to do it their way, even if they make mistakes. Try to remain sensitive to the feelings of those around you. The first Taurus personality, which is from April 25th to May 2nd. Taurus 1 people are hard-headed pragmatists. They most closely resemble the commonly held image of Taurus stubbornness. When presented with a request or proposal which, as they see it, will only cause unnecessary complication or is a waste of energy, they will invariably say no, without regrets. This is not to indicate, however, that Taurus 1 are inhumanly inflexible, for they can be open to suggestions and innovation under the right circumstances. Also, Taurus 1 are susceptible to charm, particularly when it originates with an object of their passionate love or a favorite child, for example. The physical aspects of life are what concern Taurus eyes the most. Building a comfortable and beautiful home, enjoying the pleasures of the table and bed, engaging in sports and recreation, and in general, meaning domestic and business affairs are their forte. Indeed, the maintenance aspects of any given endeavor may involve Taurus 1 more than the exciting initiatory phase. Abstract ideas may be a source of fascination or inspiration for a time, but usually it is those of a practical nature that can be worked out in the real world will continue to hold their attention. Taurus 1 can be extremely agreeable and easygoing people as long as things are running smoothly. However, they will show a less pleasant side of their nature to anyone they consider a troublemaker. When things are not going well, they may sink into an emotional slump for long periods of time. Rather than take action in a serious policy matter, a Taurus 1 may very well choose to wait. The upside of this trait is that by resisting hasty action they often maximize their chances for success. The downside is that they may wait too long. Taurus I's often miss opportunities in life through excessive caution. Taurus 1 enjoy the role of boss or parent very much, even though strong leadership qualities and ambition are not necessarily characteristic of those born in this period. Their image as protector, helper, or nurturer is vitally important to them. One of the strongest Taurus I talents is the ability to build a cohesive team on the bedrock of harmony and cooperation. Taurus 1 realize that the ability to get along with others may be just as important as talent or intelligence on the job. Advice: beware of taking on too much responsibility. Consciously work on changing yourself periodically. Beware of procrastinating in the name of prudence or good sense. Open up your horizons by exposing yourself to different disciplines and points of view. The second Taurus personality, which is from May 3rd to May 10th. Taurus 2 individuals are concerned with the development and transmission of ideas and techniques. No matter what their walk in life, no matter what their profession or occupation, those born in this period have a message to share. Therefore, it is extremely important that they have someone who wishes to listen. The size of their audience may range from a single intimate to an audience of thousands, but Taurus 2 observations are memorable ones which tend to be repeated by others and perhaps recorded. Taurus 2 people generate thought through what they say and can in fact be highly influential. Even if not teachers by vocation, Taurus 2 people are often engaged in similar activities. Furthermore, without verbalizing their thoughts, many born in this period can lead by example, a kind of teaching that may in fact be superior to book learning. Such Taurus 2 believe in laying it on the line and in living out their beliefs for all to see. These beliefs are not necessarily conservative ones. In fact, many born in this period evidence quite unconventional or even radical behavior. Those born in Taurus 2 are movers and shakers, and since their ideas are rarely flighty, but deal with weighty or serious subjects, they tend to impact heavily on the lives of others. Unfortunately, Taurus may second over time become too didactic and convinced of their own infallibility. Such Taurus 2 will have to work on flexibility and acceptance if they do not wish to drive themselves into a corner. The life of a Taurus may second be a lonely one, since those born in this period have a dual need to lead others but also to maintain some distance between themselves and society. As parents, they must beware of cutting themselves off from their children, as employees, from their fellow workers. Taurus 2 value their privacy very highly. It is important for them to arrange their time as it suits them, and therefore do not take unexpected intrusions lightly. Advice: seek to be more affectionate and playful. Beware of strident, dogmatic, or inflexible attitudes. Remember that others have gifts to teach also, and that the best teacher is often an eternal student. Set a good example by admitting your mistakes. Rework and revise your ideas periodically. The third Taurus personality, which is from May 11th to May 18th. Those born in Taurus 3 value both nature and natural behavior very highly. Yet, paradoxically, they may suffer from inhibitions if they meet with criticism, ostracism, or discouraging attitudes. Taurus 3 are generally highly sensitive individuals who need to be left free to express themselves without fear of censure. Taurus 3 tend to be self-taught and generally eschew institutionalized learning. Not only do they learn from experience but also from the world of nature. In some ways, these free spirits look back to the infant as an ideal of uninhibited self-expression. For this reason, they can also be very fond of animals. Often Taurus 3 are chided for their naivete. They may even be spoken of as primitive in their outlook, when in fact they are actually seeking the most simple and direct means of expression. Most born in this period do prefer to take the path of least resistance, but what they find easy may be quite difficult or even incomprehensible to another. Problems often arise for them when they cannot or will not conform to societal norms. Successful Taurus 3 are highly resistant to negative criticism and attempts to bring them down. Those less strong, however, may acquire nervous habits, neurotic behavior, or even grow deeply depressed. Taurus 3 frequently have an inborn natural grace. Often others who meet them are impressed by their wholeness and feel they have encountered a total person. However, Taurus may not really be as together as they seem. Hidden conflicts and frustrations abound in many born in this period who, as natural as they seem to be, may be out of touch with their own desires. The more flamboyant of Taurus may list their dramatic flair and buoyant personality as a cover-up to hide their insecurities, of which they are painfully aware. Advice: dig deeper and explore the depths of your personality. Try to take matters a bit more seriously if you wish others to do the same in regard to you. On the other hand, never give up your natural and instinctive approach to life. Set your personal standards a bit higher and expect more of yourself. The cusp of Taurus-Gemini personality, which is from May 19th to May 24th. This is the period that also covers the author of this podcast in Gary Goldschneider. In many ways, people born on the Taurus-Gemini cusp may be spoken of as eternal adolescents. They are energetic, convincing, and prolific. Whatever it is they do, they like to do it a lot. Because those born on this cusp are also versatile, however, they may wear themselves out, along with those around them, by seeking to do far too much far too often. They need to learn to limit themselves, and at least explore one avenue more thoroughly before moving on to another. However, when the dynamos born on this cusp are not actively pursuing something, they love to talk about what is going on around them. Life without communication would be a dull affair indeed. Those born on the Taurus-Gemini cusp thrive on active verbal interchange and are usually talented at it. Sometimes, however, such interchange becomes a one-way street, with the Taurus-GEMINI doing all the talking. Even, cusp personality comprises conflicting elements, being influenced by two very different adjacent signs. Because the Taurus-GEMINI personality combines earthy, sensuous Taurus traits with airy, more unstable and expansive Gemini ones, conflicts between physical and mental considerations may surface. Sensation thought types, those born on this cusp may lack a certain emotional sensitivity and not trust their intuitions enough. For this reason, they can mull over emotional matters excessively and at the same time seem rather cool or unsympathetic toward the feelings of others. Because of their frenetic pace, those born on the Taurus-Gemini cusp are prone to burnout, both physical and mental. However, they stand a good chance of achieving lasting success if they can develop self-discipline and direct themselves efficiently. Advice: monitor the pace of your activities carefully. Seek to be more consistent and less casual in jettisoning people and ideas. Don't come on so strong. Turn off your mental motor from time to time. Confront your fears and insecurities. The first Gemini personality, which is from May 25th to June 2nd. Gemini 1 people are fighters who stand up for what they believe in. Should they adopt an overtly combative stance, they are, of course, sure to arouse antagonism. Because of their strong beliefs concerning freedom of action and thought, they often wish not only to protect those disenfranchised or downtrodden members of society but also to liberate them from their oppressors. Geminis are usually in constant and rapid motion. They do not like to waste time in needless discussion. Most often they take the attitude that if they are not quickly understood, then that is the other person's problem. The swiftness of their thought processes often mirrors a heightened state of activity. The technical abilities of Geminis are usually well developed, and many born in this period possess remarkable hand-eye coordination, making them skillful in all sorts of crafts and artistic pursuits. Because they can move so quickly from one thought or project to the next, Geminis may leave a trail of unfinished projects behind them. However, having children or taking on weighty long-term concerns may eventually force them to face the responsibilities of maintenance, care, and upkeep. What at first seems an imposition of limitation and burden may in fact be just the impetus for Geminis to blossom as people and put their talents to truly constructive use. Without such responsibilities, those born in this period may wind up indulging in all sorts of erratic behavior or even getting into deep trouble. Geminis will generally have to develop a means of dealing with their aggressions. Repressing them inevitably leads to depression, expressing them directly to friction and strife. Physical activities may prove very useful in this respect, both as outlets and for grounding more chaotic energies. In any case, seeking out and responding to challenges seems essential for the health of Geminis. They suffer greatly when there is little to do or when isolated from those who share their interests and concerns. Advice: work to finish what you start. Develop the patience to interact fully with others. Your ideals may have to be sacrificed at times for the sake of harmony. Avoid escapism in its manifold guises. Keep busy and happy, but do not neglect tending to your inner emotional life. The second Gemini personality, which is from June 3rd to June 10th. Gemini 2 people strive to be original, even to the point of developing their own very special language. For these expressive individuals, however, the word language should not be taken to mean only the written or spoken word. For them, body language and other unspoken forms of expression can be powerful and evocative ways to communicate. Gemini 2 are unusual and show little desire to hide the fact. Indeed, sharing themselves with an appreciative audience that truly understands what they have to offer gives them great satisfaction. As far as their speech is concerned, Gemini 2 may not realize that both the language they employ and the message they convey can be difficult for the average person to understand. Consequently, they may wind up very frustrated when the listener doesn't get it. Part of the problem is that when explaining a point or defending a position, some Gemini 2 use a barrage of words, or perhaps cast out several different lines of argument rather than just relying on a single carefully chosen one. In their intense desire to communicate, the meaning may get lost in the shuffle. Regardless of the complexity of their thoughts, Gemini 2 tend to be highly direct and outspoken, sometimes too much so. They are not specialists in flattery, soft language, or talking around the subject. Capable of biting wit, irony, and sarcasm, most born in this period know how to hurt and even how to rub it in. If they wish to remain successful and well-liked, it is important that they remain judicious and sparing in their use of such barbs. Those born in Gemini 2 can be equally hard on themselves. Indeed, there is a certain type of Gemini 2 person who worries over every last detail. Much of this worry reflects a fear of being inadequate, looking foolish, or somehow failing others. Such Gemini 2 must learn to develop a more free and easy attitude toward themselves, and realize that making mistakes is just part of being human. Quite naturally, Gemini 2 usually love debate and discussion, and can certainly hold their own in an argument. Furthermore, they are not above using their seductive powers and charm to win out over the opposition. Indeed, winning is a high priority for many Gemini 2. Probably the worst thing for those born in this period is to be ignored or not taken seriously. Advice: try not to come on in a rush. Be clear in what you say, but also diplomatic. Don't be inattentive to the impression you make or the idea others have of you. There is great value in silence. Take the time to develop deep friendships. The third Gemini personality, which is from June 11th to June 18th. Gemini 3 people are adventurers who seek to go beyond ordinary limitations of time and space. Those born in this period seem to revel in physical activities, but in fact it is the transcending of the physical, a striving for the metaphysical, which drives them on. Gemini 3 tend to be restless types, constantly on the move, in their personal life, from one person or location to the next, in business or career, from one project to the next, in their art, from one period or technique to the next. Their style is to remain unattached and thus free to progress as far as possible. Such characteristics make it hard for others to keep up with them. Indeed, partners or friends involved in relationships with Gemini 3 may at times feel excluded or simply left behind. Those who complement Gemini 3 well understand their adventuresomeness and wisely do not seek to possess them or hold them back. Often Gemini 3 shape and direct the workings of a family with the same ease and facility that they demonstrate with their work. Those born in this period usually remain highly sensitive to life around them, and in the same way that they are able to understand the nature of different materials can bring together diverse points of view and conflicting personalities, somehow finding a way to keep everyone happy in the process. Sometimes those born in this period spend so much time pleasing or motivating others that they forget to reward themselves with those small indulgences that lend joy to life. One thing is for sure, life is rarely dull with a Gemini 3 around. Those born in this period do not necessarily have to travel to far-off lands to find challenge and adventure. Whether exploring uncharted waters in the areas of cooking, sports, finance, interpersonal relations, or raising a family, Gemini 3 keep others guessing as to their next move. However, some born in this energetic period may also blind themselves to reality, and in their highly positive orientation insist that everything is going fine, when in fact it is not. Such Gemini 3 people must strive to see not only the world but also themselves more objectively, and to resist the tendency to deny the darker areas of life. Advice: sometimes what is right in front of you is just as interesting as something risky or exotic. It may not be incumbent on you to influence the course of things. Allow yourself to express negativity when it is called for. Give yourself easy rewards, too. The cusp of Gemini-Cancer personality, which is from June 19th to June 24th. In some ways, the Gemini-Cancer cusp may be spoken of as an inspired individual. Whether their inspiration is more private or public in nature, those born on this cusp have a highly devotional streak in which caring impulses are manifested toward their loved ones, or toward an occupation or cause. Those born on the Gemini-Cancer cusp can thus be self-effacing, in that their egos are often put in the service of a higher power. For this reason, particularly on first meeting, they rarely impress one as brightly lit up, dynamic individuals but rather profound and thoughtful people with a softer glow that comes from deep within. Every cusp personality comprises conflicting elements, being influenced by two very different adjacent signs. In the case of the Gemini-Cancer cusp personality, however, airy, light and energetic Gemini traits complement the watery, feeling and sensitive aspects of Cancer by lending ethereal grace and charm. The main conflict arises between the mental logic and precision of Gemini and the more diffuse, subtle emotionality of Cancer. Furthermore, as thought-feeling types, those born on this cusp can lack earthiness and fiery or intuitive impulsiveness. Those born on the Gemini-Cancer cusp are attracted to ecstatic states, and fortunately they are capable of finding inspirational qualities in even the most ordinary of everyday activities. But their lives are only given full meaning when love and romance are allowed to bloom. Advice: exercise your magical powers with care. You may need to be a bit tougher on yourself. Keep your eye on the goal and resist any tendency to drift. Do not lose yourself so readily in ecstatic experiences, or you may have trouble finding yourself again. Beware of repressing your feelings or allowing destructive emotions to control you. The first Cancer personality, which is from June 25th to July 2nd. Cancerite people are clever in getting their way. Not in the least part, this is a result of understanding the needs and motivations of others. Despite the image that Cancerians in general have of being dreamy and impractical, Cancerite people are often able to make their dreams pay off. Indeed, those born in this period can be surprisingly successful in the hard world of business and impressively adept at handling money. Their watery nature is revealed in treating currency as a fluid commodity, instinctively understanding that a constant cash flow is as necessary to finance as the movement of the tides is to the ocean. Furthermore, one of the fortes of Cancerite people is salesmanship. Since they are often masters of human psychology, they are able to convince the potential buyer that a product is the right personal item to purchase. The home is immensely important to a Cancerite. Selecting, designing, and even building a dwelling is a top priority for the crab. But like their namesake, certain Cancerites carry their home with them in the sense of feeling secure and protected wherever they are. Those born in this period do tend to be defensive-minded, but again, like the crab, they can show markedly aggressive instincts as well. When necessary, Cancerites can make a quick transition from a shy or retiring posture to an attacking mode. Indeed, those born in Cancer must be very careful that their aggressive instincts do not run riot in certain situations. Another danger is that they will deny their aggressive side and attempt to suppress it. For some born in this period, such denial can eventually lead to depression accompanied by periodic outbursts of anger. Those Cancerites who allow themselves to get bottled up in a world of highly personal feelings may really put themselves through torture. Such individuals, however, may have already unknowingly taken a first step toward evolutionary growth by having grappled with an emotional side of themselves that is involved and complex. If they are able to win out in this struggle, they may succeed in becoming highly positive and successful individuals. Advice: don't armor yourself too heavily, on the other hand, remain discriminating. Allow others the freedom to take risks. Though your salesmanship may be excellent, it is not always appreciated. Don't only challenge your fears, overcome them through self-liberation and action. The second Cancer personality, which is from July 3rd to July 10th. Cancer 2 people are not always what they seem to be. Whether they present a normal image or not, one can be fairly sure that an unusual, even bizarre, fantasy life lurks just below the surface. Perhaps because those born in Cancer 2 are in touch with their unconscious, the weird and the strange are not necessarily so weird and strange to them. Not only are they attracted to unusual people but also to the more eccentric and idiosyncratic side of quite normal people. Many Cancer 2 enjoy observing, discussing, and perhaps chronicling both human behavior and the wondrous aspects of nature and art. When doing so, humor often figures prominently in their mode of expression. Particularly when those born in this period turn their attention to the foibles and peculiarities of others, they can be extremely insightful. As the expression goes, it often takes one to know one. Of course, many Cancer 2s function normally in ordinary occupations and do not impress one as being particularly strange. Many of these tip-of-the-iceberg people keep their vivid fantasies and unusual ideas to themselves after years of being met with a less than enthusiastic reception. Those born in Cancer 2 sometimes decide it's better not to attract too much attention, and instead indulge their fantasies in their spare time, leading a kind of double life. Other more carefree and unconcerned Cancer 2 can really get out there in their imaginative displays. Charismatic, they have a way of touching those hidden areas in people that few acknowledge and even fewer would care to explore. Yet by opening a pipeline to such secret places, perhaps sounding a common chord, Cancer 2s throw light on what many in fact are thinking but dare not to express. By capturing the imagination of others, they can achieve respect in their social circle or even in the commercial world. However, such Cancer 2s may suffer greatly if they fail to find an audience with which to share their thoughts and may take such a lack of appreciation as personal rejection. Advice: make a real effort to get out in the world. Toughen your stance a bit and try not to be so sensitive. Develop your financial sense and cultivate your talent for maintenance and continuity. Keep contact with those who care about you. Put your active fantasy and imagination to a productive use. The third Cancer personality, which is from July 11th to July 18th. Cancer 3 people know how to convince others of their worth and get them to do their bidding. Powerful manipulators of their environment. Cancer 3s often manifest great drive and determination. Yet rarely do they fall victim to blind ambition. Even when financial rewards are forthcoming from their efforts, Cancer 3s generally prefer to invest in themselves rather than indulge in materialistic displays or power tripping. Though they may be skillful in debate, many Cancer 3s persuade others less by their arguments than by their presence alone. Strong personalities, those born in this period, are not shy about quietly and effectively applying pressure when needed. Indeed, the ins and outs of political and social infighting are well known to these canny individuals. Because of their highly persuasive nature, Cancer 3s must avoid impacting too heavily on others, perhaps smothering those with whom they interact. Particularly when it comes to their children. Cancer 3 parents should try not to be overbearing, dominant, or worse yet, repressive. Such behavior can cripple a young person's sense of self and independence, weakening his or her ability to survive as an autonomous adult. Whether consciously or unconsciously, most Cancer 3 people are capable of subtly manipulating the feelings of others through their highly developed empathic sense. Those born in this period can thus be very upsetting, but when they are convinced that they are working for the highest good of their family or organization, they are difficult to oppose. Indeed, when they are on the right track, their powers to represent others as a spokesman or representative are considerable, and they can usually obtain significant benefits for all concerned. Seduction and some forms of manipulation are not necessarily bad or immoral activities. Heightening the process of attraction and desiring to further the action are only natural. Most Cancer 3s understand these facts of life and thus value savvy and refinement in themselves and others. Some born in this period may even go so far as to subtly plant ideas in the minds of people so that they will later act on them, thinking that the intention to do so originated with them. With such social tools at their disposal, those born in Cancer 3 are able to impact greatly on others, even to take groups and organizations to a whole new level. Advice: don't be too so sure you know what is right for people. Work to keep your own house in order. Allow others to express themselves freely. Perhaps no one doubts your good intentions, so it may not be necessary to justify them. Be confident of your abilities at a deep level. The cusp of Cancer Leo personality, which is from July 19th to July 25th. Those born on the Cancer Leo cusp tend to have rather volatile personalities that can quickly swing from one extreme to the other. Actually, many forms of movement, change, and flux typify those born on this cusp. Not only physical movement, travel, change of address, adventure, sports, etc., but also oscillations in the realms of thought and emotion are characteristic. Cancer Leo cusp can appear shy and retiring one moment and dynamic and active the next, reflecting a clash of the watery sensitivity of Cancer with the fiery assertiveness of Leo. An obvious task for those born on this cusp will be to dampen the extremes of their fluctuations, flattening out their activity curve to more of a straight line, and to reconcile and integrate conflicting tendencies. Those born on the Cancer Leo cusp tend to be vibrant, energetic, exciting individuals who feel a need to seek out challenges and overcome them. Often, physical disciplines and the mastery of the body play a great role in their development. Not only strength but also grace of movement can be a focus for them. Advice: even out the highs and lows, the rewards of stability are great. Cultivate self-discipline but never lose your spontaneity. Build a calm center which bolsters your confidence and remains at the heart of your being. Concentrate more on living in the moment, free of past problems and future expectations. Pace yourself for the long haul. The first Leo personality, which is from July 26th to August 2nd. Leo, the first people, are among the most powerfully authoritative of the year. Although many have leadership qualities, it is not the act of commanding others that usually appeals to them but asserting themselves and being taken seriously. Also, much of their energy is channeled inward rather than outward, toward developing their own strengths and abilities. Success for these tough individuals may not always be measured in worldly terms either. Often they have private goals, whether intellectual or physical, which they pursue with unrelenting tenacity. Surpassing their own previous achievements may figure prominently for them. Leo is art, not people who blend in with the wallpaper. In fact, too often they feel the need to dominate their environment. The more advanced born in this period learn that greater results can often be achieved without making their presence felt too strongly. However, the posture of a Leo the first naturally tends toward the imposing, and therefore no matter what they do it is difficult for them to remain unobtrusive. Since their outlook is generally forceful and positive, Leos may not be able to understand moodiness or negativity in others. If their own outlook becomes negative through rejection or failure, they may be ill-equipped to deal with it. Leos often find themselves in situations where they are called upon to make decisions for others. They tend to be upwardly mobile in their orientation and may well reach positions of power where responsibilities can be truly crushing. For the most part, those born in this period are more than capable of handling challenging demands, but in some cases their own private goals and real interests can get swallowed up by their professional life. This can, of course, lead to frustration. Perhaps one scenario for such Leos is that in their drive for success they make themselves indispensable to their firm or organization and then are simply unable to leave, having grown used to the rewards earned and the feeling of being needed and valuable. Advice: learn to accept people as they are, both the positive and negative. It is probably useless to try to camouflage yourself, but do try to be more diplomatic and sensitive. Although you are good at making decisions for others, you may have overlooked making some crucial decisions for yourself. It doesn't make you less of a person to be a bit more easygoing. The second Leo personality, which is from August 3rd to August 10th. Leo, the second people, are proud of their strength and enjoy putting it to the test, usually in some constructive way. Thus they gravitate toward challenging activities, often those that hold an element of risk or even danger. More often it is not the goal that interests a Leo the second so much as the struggle in getting there. Those born in this period rarely give up once they embark on a project and have the endurance and tenacity to hang in there. The advantages of such stick-to-itiveness are obvious, but stubborn determination can sometimes be counterproductive, for instance when a bad situation should simply be left to fall apart. After many years of struggle, Leo-2s can suddenly come to such a realization, and at a certain point may surprise those who witnessed their refusal to give up or compromise. At such a time, often in their 40s, Leo-2s can change direction suddenly and simply walk away from the interests they worked so long and hard to cultivate or protect. For the most part, however, those born in Leo II are extraordinarily faithful people. They see themselves as protectors of the weak and champions of the downtrodden. Most of all, they despise exclusion and condescension, and for this reason, generally side with the common person rather than with privileged groups. It is not that those born in this period cannot act a part, they have the ability to mix well within a variety of social classes, but that they generally take the role they play very seriously. Therefore, when Leo-2s encounter insincere, imitative, or irresolute individuals, they may or may not evidence distaste for them on a personal level, but will certainly consider them unconvincing and a waste of time. Indeed, doing things with conviction and an admirable lack of pretension is the hallmark of a Leo II personality. In their toughness, Leo-2s are able to withstand many disappointments. They usually weather the storm and win out through knowing how to wait, having the long breath. When necessary, those born in Leo II are able to take command, but more often prefer to maintain the freedom to act on their own. They like being independent, but nonetheless tend to build a restricted, well-defined life in which they exert a maximum of power with a minimum of fuss. Advice: watch your temper. Hot-headedness can throw you off balance and aid your opponent. Compromise and diplomacy are virtues to be cultivated, not weaknesses to be despised. Remain open and vulnerable to love. Don't be too hard on yourself or too demanding. Ease up a bit on the expectations you place on others. The third Leo personality, which is from August 11th to August 18th. Leo the third people are born leaders. Some are interested in being rulers and exerting full power over others, for better or worse. Others do not have the slightest interest in ruling but choose instead to lead through their ideas, example, or ethics. In either case, Leo-wills are not terribly fond of bringing up the rear in any procession. Leo-3s are deep, emotionally complex individuals. Because they are often fired by volcanic, perhaps dark energies. Within them, they can unpredictably explode in bursts of activity, but also anger, even violence. Although they are often attractive and sexually magnetic, they demand a great deal of understanding from their friends and mates. Indeed, some born in Leo III can come to think of themselves as unlucky, when in fact they are just at the mercy of their powerful feelings. Such individuals can grow overly sensitive and will make themselves unhappy if they get the idea that others regard them as unlikable, peculiar, or strange. In even the most mundane life situations, Leo-3s can manage to find heroic or adventuresome elements. Quite often they endow the commonplace with an air of specialness, even glory, acting out events grandly with themselves as the central figure. It is possible that each of us creates her own personal mythology in which we play the starring role, but this is particularly true for Leo-3s. Those born in Leo III often find themselves working in the cause of some high ideal or service. Although they may be seen as egotists by some. Less empowered people, the kind of self-sacrifice and devotion that their activities demand belies this charge. Undeniably, however, for many Leo-3s the cause they serve and the persona they inhabit are closely related, even symbiotic. Because of their abundant self-confidence, there are those Leo-3s who can come to think of themselves as infallible, or even worse, invulnerable. Though their strong convictions are admirable, if they become isolated or unrealistic, they may be sowing the seeds of their own destruction. Advice: try to tone down your demanding and commanding side. Hold the mirror up to yourself as well, examine your motivations carefully. Battle to keep the combatant in you more peaceful. Take some distance from yourself. Admitting weakness can also be a sign of strength. The cusp of Leo-Virgo personality, which is from August 19th to August 25th. In some aspects of character, those born on the Leo-Virgo cusp are highly secretive individuals, in others, extroverts. Of course, these apparently contradictory elements are only two sides of the same coin. In order to reveal what has previously been hidden, secrets have to exist in the first place. Further, one might argue that one reason that things are hidden is so that they can be one day revealed, with maximum impact. Fortunately, many born on the LV cusp have a good feeling for kairos, that is, the right time to do something. Masters of effect, they know when to keep silent and when to speak. Thus both their concealments and revelations can be used as means, techniques, even weapons, to help them achieve their ends in very subtle or dramatic ways. Every cusp personality comprises conflicting elements, being influenced by two very different adjacent signs. Fortunately here, an organic dynamic is set up where practical, earthy Virgo elements combine beautifully with intuitive and explosive Leo qualities. Although intuitive sensation types, LEO-VIRGOs also come under the influence of Mercury, which promotes logical thought. The earthiness of Virgo is somewhat mitigated by this influence, as those born on this cusp tend to be more discriminating and less overtly sensual. The fourth mode, that of feeling, is the one lacking here, and therefore LEO-VIRGOs may be somewhat out of touch with their own deeper emotions and those of others. Advice: don't blame the world for not recognizing you if you hide yourself away. Be more transparent, let people see what you are really like. Beware of keeping secrets even from yourself. Allow others in, to sharing both your joys and sorrows. The first Virgo personality, which is from August 26th to September 2nd. Virgo-I people are generally straightforward and direct. Those born in this period who are blessed with leadership abilities usually apply their talents and energies in the practical service of some group or cause. Virgo is operating in a more self-serving sphere are less likely to be successful. Virgos make excellent partners, co-workers, and business associates. Eschewing the spotlight, many born in this period prefer to work in a team or behind the scenes, thus enjoying a sense of freedom and anonymity. Still other Virgos choose to work alone, and may often appear lonely or isolated to others. In fact, strong but selfless Virgo-Is are capable of working contentedly in an uncomplaining fashion for years with little material reward. Virgos know that there is always a way to get something done. The key to their confidence is often in their understanding of how to reduce tasks to a system, or through practice to overcome technical obstacles. One danger, of course, is that their lives may become highly inflexible because of rigid programming. In such a life, the system may become more important ultimately than the goal. As parents, Virgos must beware of being too strict when setting rules for their children. On the other hand, should they believe in allowing them great latitude, they can be equally capable of building a system around that idea as well. Virgo-Is make excellent friends who, although not particularly flashy or flamboyant, may serve as a haven of safety in times of distress. Because of their dependability, some Virgo-Is attract unstable individuals and foster dependencies. Thus, despite their seemingly endless capacity to be helpful and constructive, Virgo-Is must protect themselves against those who are overly demanding of their energies. Virgo-Is love to elaborate ideas, schemes, and systems of thought through speech and writing. Usually they can find hundreds of examples to back up their opinions, but may have a tendency to fixate on one single idea or stream of thought to the exclusion of all others. They may also latch on to a particular person in an obsessive way, especially in the case of Virgo-Is who have trouble making lasting, deep friendships. Advice: soften your stance a bit, take things as they come and let them go as they will. Try to keep your work and home life separate. Step out a bit and demand dependability from others, too. Protect yourself from hangers-on and parasites. Occasionally be more selfish and unashamedly demand benefits for yourself.